Have you ever woken up with that sharp, burning pain in your big toe, wondering why it feels like your body is betraying you? Or maybe you've noticed those gout attacks that used to come and go are now sticking around longer, hitting harder, especially as you've crossed into your 70s. If you're nodding along, you're not alone. Gout can feel like an unwelcome guest that overstays its welcome, and for many of us over 70, it seems to get worse with age. But here's the good news: you don't have to just live with it. There are simple mistakes we make, often without realizing, that can make gout flare-ups more frequent and intense. And better yet, there are practical ways to fix them so you can enjoy your days with less pain and more freedom. In this video, we're diving into why gout worsens after 70 and the 5 common mistakes seniors make that fuel those painful attacks. I'll walk you through each one, share relatable stories, and give you actionable steps to take control of your health. Whether you've been dealing with gout for years or it's a new challenge, these tips can make a real difference. Let's start with the first mistake, and trust me, this one might surprise you because it's something most of us do without thinking. The first mistake seniors make is ignoring their diet triggers, especially when it comes to purine-rich foods. Now, I know what you're thinking: diet talk can feel like a lecture, and nobody wants to give up their favorite foods. But hear me out. Gout is caused by too much uric acid in your body, and certain foods can send those levels skyrocketing. Purines are compounds found in foods like red meat, organ meats, shellfish, and even some seemingly innocent choices like sardines or anchovies. When you eat these, your body breaks them down into uric acid, and if your kidneys can't clear it out fast enough, it builds up, forming those painful crystals in your joints. I met a gentleman named Harold at a community center a while back. He was in his late 70s, loved his weekly steak dinners, and couldn't resist a good shrimp cocktail. But every time he indulged, he'd be laid up for days with gout so bad he couldn't walk to his mailbox. He thought cutting back meant giving up everything he enjoyed, so he kept eating the same way, hoping the pain would just go away. Sound familiar? The truth is, you don't have to overhaul your entire diet, but small, smart changes can make a huge difference. Start by identifying your trigger foods. For some, it's red meat. For others, it's seafood or even certain vegetables like asparagus or mushrooms, which have moderate purine levels. Here's what you can do: keep a food diary for a couple of weeks. Write down what you eat and note when a gout flare-up happens. This helps you spot patterns without feeling deprived. Then, try swapping high-purine foods for gout-friendly options. Love steak? Go for lean chicken or turkey a few times a week instead. Craving shrimp? Try grilled salmon, which is lower in purines and packed with anti-inflammatory omega-3s. And don't forget about plant-based meals, think lentil soups or veggie stir-fries. These are not only low in purines but also help your body stay balanced. Harold started swapping his steak for grilled chicken and added cherries to his diet. Cherries are fantastic for lowering uric acid. Within a month, his flare-ups were less frequent, and he was back to his morning walks. Another tip is to watch portion sizes. You don't have to eliminate your favorites completely, but eating smaller amounts of high-purine foods can keep uric acid levels in check. And here's a pro move: pair those foods with gout fighters like low-fat dairy or citrus fruits. A glass of skim milk or a bowl of yogurt can actually help your body excrete uric acid faster. The key is balance, not deprivation, so you can still enjoy your meals without waking up to that dreaded toe pain. Now, let's move on to the second mistake, which is one of the biggest traps seniors fall into: not drinking enough water. I know, it sounds so simple, but dehydration is a silent gout trigger, especially as we age. After 70, our kidneys aren't as efficient at flushing out uric acid, and when you're dehydrated, that acid builds up even faster, turning your joints into a battleground. Plus, many of us don't feel as thirsty as we used to, so we drink less without even realizing it. I remember chatting with a woman named Margaret at a senior fitness class. She was 72, active, and loved her gardening, but her gout attacks kept her sidelined. When I asked about her water intake, she admitted she barely drank more than a glass or two a day because she didn't want to keep running to the bathroom. Here's why water matters: it helps your kidneys flush out uric acid before it can form those painful crystals. Think of it like keeping a river flowing smoothly instead of letting it clog up with debris. A good rule of thumb is to aim for 8 to 10 cups of water a day, more if you're active or live in a warm climate. If plain water feels boring, add a slice of lemon or cucumber for a little flavor. Herbal teas or diluted fruit juices can count too, but steer clear of sugary sodas or drinks with high fructose corn syrup, as those can actually make gout worse. To make it easier, keep a reusable water bottle with you and sip throughout the day. Set small goals, like finishing a bottle by lunch and another by dinner. Margaret started carrying a pretty blue water bottle her granddaughter gave her, and she made it a game to refill it 3 times a day. Not only did her gout attacks ease up, but she also felt more energized for her gardening. And if you're worried about bathroom trips, especially at night, try spreading your water intake earlier in the day and cutting back a bit in the evening. These 2 mistakes, ignoring diet triggers and not drinking enough water, are so common, but they're also fixable with small, manageable changes. By tweaking what you eat and making hydration a habit, you're already taking big steps toward fewer gout flare-ups and less pain. But there's more to the story, and the next mistake we're going to talk about is one that sneaks up on a lot of us, especially after 70. It's all about how we move, or don't move, and how that impacts gout in ways you might not expect. So, we've been talking about how small changes like watching your diet and staying hydrated can make a big difference in keeping gout flare-ups at bay. Now, let's dive into the next mistake, which is something many of us don't connect to gout at all, not moving enough or moving in the wrong way. I know, exercise might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you're dealing with a painful joint, but hear me out. Staying active is a game changer for managing gout, especially after 70. The problem is, a lot of seniors either avoid movement altogether because they're afraid of triggering pain, or they push too hard in ways that actually make things worse. Let's start with why sitting too much can be a problem. When you're not moving, your joints stiffen up, and your body doesn't circulate uric acid as efficiently. Think of it like a pond that's gone stagnant. Without flow, things start to build up. I met a man named George at a local senior center who was 74 and loved his recliner a bit too much. He'd spend hours watching TV or reading, thinking he was doing his body a favor by resting his gout-prone foot. But the less he moved, the more frequent his flare-ups became. He didn't realize that gentle movement helps your kidneys flush out uric acid and keeps your joints from locking up. Plus, staying active can help you maintain a healthy weight, which is huge for gout because extra pounds put more pressure on your joints and increase uric acid production. Now, I'm not saying you need to run a marathon or hit the gym like you're 30. Low-impact activities are your best friend here. Walking is a great place to start. Aim for 15 to 20 minutes a day, even if it's just around your backyard or down the street. If your joints are sore, try walking in a pool or doing chair exercises to take the pressure off. Swimming or water aerobics are fantastic because the water supports your body while you move. I remember a woman named Dorothy who was 71 and swore by her weekly aqua fitness class. She started it to help with her gout, but she ended up loving it so much she made new friends and felt stronger overall. The key is to start slow and listen to your body. If you feel pain during or after an activity, scale back, but don't stop moving altogether. On the flip side, some seniors make the mistake of overdoing it with high-impact exercises like running or heavy lifting, thinking it'll keep them young. But those activities can stress your joints and trigger gout attacks, especially if you're not used to them. If you love being active, stick to gentle, joint-friendly options like yoga or Tai Chi. These not only improve flexibility but also reduce stress, which can indirectly help with gout by keeping inflammation in check. And always warm up before you exercise. 5 minutes of light stretching can prevent strain. George started with short walks and added some seated stretches he learned from a YouTube video. Within a few weeks, he noticed his flare-ups were less intense, and he could spend more time playing cards with his buddies without wincing in pain. The fourth mistake is one that catches a lot of us off guard: not managing medications properly. As we get older, many of us are juggling multiple prescriptions, and it's easy to miss doses or misunderstand how gout medications work. Some folks stop taking their uric acid-lowering meds, like allopurinol or febuxostat, as soon as they feel better, thinking they're cured. Others skip doses because they're worried about side effects or just forget. I spoke with a woman named Evelyn, who was 76 and had been prescribed allopurinol for years. She'd take it for a few months, feel fine, and then stop because she didn't think she needed it anymore. Sure enough, her gout would come roaring back, worse than before. Here's the deal: gout isn't something you just fix and move on from. Medications like allopurinol work by keeping your uric acid levels low over time, but they need to be taken consistently, even when you're not in pain. Stopping them suddenly can cause a spike in uric acid, setting you up for a nasty flare-up. If you're on these meds, talk to your doctor about how they work and what to expect. Ask questions like, how long should I take this, or what should I do if I miss a dose? And if you're worried about side effects, don't just stop, let your doctor know so they can adjust your plan. Another medication mistake is not being aware of how other drugs can affect gout. For example, some diuretics used for high blood pressure can raise uric acid levels. If you're on a diuretic, ask your doctor if there's an alternative that's gentler on your gout. Evelyn worked with her doctor to set a daily reminder on her phone for her allopurinol and even got a pill organizer to keep track. She also switched to a different blood pressure med that didn't mess with her uric acid. It took a little effort, but she went from flare-ups every month to barely having them at all. To make this easier, try setting up a system that works for you. A pill organizer with morning and evening slots can be a lifesaver, especially if you're taking multiple meds. Or use a phone alarm to remind you. And don't be shy about asking your pharmacist for help. They can explain how your medications interact and even check if your gout meds are clashing with anything else. The goal is to keep your uric acid levels steady so you can focus on living your life, not fighting pain. These two mistakes, not moving enough or moving wrong, and mismanaging medications, can sneak up on you, but they're fixable with a little attention. By adding gentle movement to your routine and staying on top of your meds, you're setting yourself up for fewer gout attacks and more good days. But there's one more mistake we need to cover, and it's a big one that ties everything together. It's about how we handle stress and inflammation, and trust me, this one can make or break your gout management. We've been talking about how gout can feel like a bigger challenge after 70, but with the right steps, like tweaking your diet, staying hydrated, moving smartly, and managing your meds, you can keep those painful flare-ups under control. Now, let's get to the fifth mistake, which is one that ties everything together: ignoring stress and inflammation. You might be thinking, what does stress have to do with my gout? But trust me, it's a bigger player than you'd expect, especially as we age. Chronic stress and inflammation can make your body a perfect storm for gout attacks, and many seniors overlook this connection, leaving them stuck in a cycle of pain. Let's break it down. When you're stressed, whether it's from worrying about health, family, or just the daily grind, your body pumps out cortisol, a hormone that can mess with how your body handles uric acid. High cortisol levels can make it harder for your kidneys to clear uric acid, letting it build up and form those dreaded crystals in your joints. Plus, stress often triggers inflammation, which is like pouring fuel on the gout fire. I met a man named Frank, who was 73 and dealing with gout for years. He was a worrier, always stressed about his finances or his grandkids' futures. He didn't realize that his constant anxiety was making his gout worse. Every time he'd get worked up, a flare-up wasn't far behind. Then there's inflammation, which can come from stress but also from other sources like poor sleep or even carrying extra weight. After 70, our bodies are more prone to inflammation, and that can make gout attacks more frequent and intense. The good news? You can tackle both stress and inflammation with some simple, practical habits that fit right into your daily life. Start with stress management. One of the easiest ways is to carve out a few minutes each day for something calming. Deep breathing is a great place to begin. Try inhaling slowly for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and exhaling for 4. Do this for 5 minutes, and you'll feel your body start to relax. Frank started doing this while sitting on his porch, and he said it was like hitting a reset button for his mind. Another great option is gentle activities like Tai Chi or meditation. Tai Chi is especially good because it combines slow, flowing movements with mindfulness, which helps with both stress and joint mobility. If that's not your thing, even listening to soothing music or spending time with a pet can lower stress levels. And don't underestimate the power of connection. Chatting with a friend or joining a senior group can lift your spirits and keep worry at bay. Frank joined a local book club, and just having those weekly chats gave him something to look forward to, which cut down on his stress and, over time, his gout flare-ups. Now, let's talk about inflammation. One of the best ways to keep it in check is through your diet, not just avoiding purine-rich foods like we talked about earlier, but adding anti-inflammatory foods. Think berries, leafy greens, nuts, and fatty fish like salmon. A handful of blueberries with your breakfast or a spinach salad at lunch can do wonders. Turmeric is another gout-friendly spice. Sprinkle a little in your soups or teas for an anti-inflammatory boost. And don't forget about sleep. Poor sleep ramps up inflammation, so aim for 7 to 8 hours a night. Create a relaxing bedtime routine, maybe a warm bath or reading a light book, to help you wind down. Another tip is to watch your weight, as extra pounds can drive inflammation and put more strain on your joints. You don't need to aim for a drastic change, just losing a few pounds can make a difference. Pair this with the gentle exercise we talked about, like walking or water aerobics, and you're tackling inflammation from multiple angles. Frank started adding a small salad to his dinners and took up short evening walks with his dog. He lost about 5 pounds over a couple of months, and his gout attacks became so rare he almost forgot what they felt like. As we wrap up, think about how these 5 mistakes, ignoring diet triggers, not drinking enough water, moving too little or too much, mismanaging medications, and letting stress and inflammation run wild, can sneak into your life. But the beauty is, you don't need to make huge changes to see results. Small steps, like swapping a steak for chicken, carrying a water bottle, walking a little each day, sticking to your meds, and finding ways to relax, add up to big wins. You're not just managing gout, you're taking charge of your health so you can enjoy the things that matter most, whether it's playing with your grandkids, tending your garden, or just feeling good in your own skin. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one change you're going to try to keep gout at bay? Maybe it's drinking more water or trying a new low purine recipe. Share your thoughts or even your favorite gout-friendly meal. I'm all ears. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more tips to live your best life at any age. Here's to fewer flare-ups and more days filled with joy and freedom. Keep shining, and I'll see you in the next video.